Good evening, and thank you for joining Lena and Nadine's Lovecast. I'm Lena,
I'm Nadine.
and thank you for joining us. For those of you that are joining us for the first time, our podcast talks about love, dating, and relationships, and a lot of hot topics that are out there that people are talking about, or they need to be talking about. We touch on. For this particular video, we absolutely welcome your feedback, questions, and please like, share, and repost our recordings. We are on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram.
Yes.
But today we wanted to talk about something that we're seeing a whole lot. And people are talking a lot about this topic, where men and women that want the benefits that come along with a marriage without the commitment.
Right.
And it's happening a lot. What have you been seeing, Nadine?
Well, I mean, just in general, I've actually had this conversation with a male and with a group of people. And just in general, I think that things have become more non-traditional. Just in society, the culture has changed and less people are getting married. That's what it seems like. It seems like, people are into dating a lot longer and then perhaps moving on to someone else, but not really having the commitment to actually marry. So I'm a woman, of course, so I can only speak for my own experiences and just what I've heard from men, that made a lot of sense. It kind of rang a bell, actually. Um, and I had someone tell me that the reason why men, I know that we're saying men and women, but I'm going to speak on men for right now, and then we can talk about women. But I think that the reason why men are wanting the benefits without making the commitment, they want the marital benefits, but they're not making the commitment, is because women are not requiring them to. So, and what I mean by women is just not just one person, but just all of us. We're not requiring men to make that commitment. You know, One or two might set their standards to a certain level where they're like, okay, he's not going to get all of me. He's not going to get all the benefits of who I am because I'm not his wife. So what happens is he's going to say, well, I'm not going to get it from her, but this one over there is going to give it to me. So I'm going to go over there because she's not requiring it. So I think that, as a whole, if all of us held on to higher standards, we would be getting married. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. I think that, a lot of people are very laxed, and for one reason or the other, whether that's not knowing your worth or whatever the case is. I think that times have changed, and there are those of us that do have standards, and don't allow people to waste our time and things like that, and that have, and we need intention clearly stated. I think that not a lot of people are requiring that, and I think it's necessary, and depending on your age and where you are in life and things like that, it'll vary, and what your requirements are will vary. But I think in fairness, people should not expect you to do things that you would typically do when you're married, whether it's a man or a woman. And just like in dating, there's levels to help, in things that you do, if um, based on how you're progressing in your particular relationship, and what's been communicated in your relationship, and where you guys are going, and you're on the same page, and you're planning and things like that. I think that will progress things. But I think it's what I've been seeing happening is, men not even being willing to state what their intentions are, whether they're looking for something serious, or whether they're looking for, to get married eventually, and just leaving things dangling. And in the meantime, they have expectations for the woman to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and all these other things. And they have not indicated that there's any level of commitment coming. So I think that, women nowadays just need to not allow, people like that to waste your time, if your focus and you have particular goals in mind, and where you want to be, and whether you want to be married or not. If you want to be married, don't allow, people to waste your time. They need to be intentional. But I would say that, I have been, guilty of, doing some things that I shouldn't have. Like I love to cook. I
Yeah.
love to eat, and, meal prepping. I've been guilty of doing that, for the guy that I dated in past. And, that's something that a wife does. They had no business doing that, but, you live and you learn, hopefully learn. So, but yeah.
Well, I mean, and then the thing is that when you're dating, I think that we're getting away from the whole purpose of dating. When we're dating, we're qualifying, we're vetting, and not based off of what you can do, but based off of who you are, what's in your heart, what's your character, you know, and that requires a certain level of vulnerability. So I think that, traditionally, I think that that traditional courting has gotten away from us, and people are getting together looking to see what they can get out of the other person, rather
Mhm,
than actually learning them and qualifying
mhm,
them, learning, their character, and, becoming vulnerable. And because that's scary. I think a lot of us have walls up. We have our guard up. And to actually become vulnerable, you have to let that guard down. And once that happens, I think that that helps to build intimacy, and intimacy, not sex, not physical, but intimacy in a way where you're really getting to see who that person is,
right,
creating a soul connection with that person.
right,
And so once that happens, I would think you'd get to a point where you'd want to commit, because you're not going to find that connection or have that easily with another person. But we're
right,
dating too much on the surface level. So, cooking, yeah, I've cooked too. I cook too. I cook for the person that I'm dating as well. Because I care about him and I want to do something nice for him. And there's nothing wrong with that. Am I responsible for his every meal, morning, lunch, breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
no ma'am.
That's what he gets when, I'm his wife, maybe.
Mhm.
But no, I mean, so yeah, so I I think it's okay, it's okay to do, nice things for the person that you're dating. You buy him a gift because it's his birthday, he may get you something, but and that's fine, but you do have to have some boundaries, whatever they may be for you, to make sure that you're not so giving of yourself that and you're not being poured back into the same, you know.
Right. And
That can be
that's the
draining.
important thing, reciprocity.
Yeah.
And, that person pouring back into, your life as well. And, we're talking about men, but I did want to say something about the women as
Yeah.
well. I think it's, unfair. And like, for example, you'll have a woman that expects a man like from the very beginning to like pay all her bills.
Right.
That's not his responsibility.
No.
That's something that happens if, further down the line, if it happens when you're married or something like that. But, he's not responsible for that. And there shouldn't be that expectation from the beginning.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, now, we can talk about the women. Women want that's the thing is that some women are looking at what they can get out of the man, as opposed to actually getting to know him, getting to know who the
Mhm.
man is. It's more about, okay, what does he do for a living? How much money does he make? And what he can do for me? What kind of car does he
Mhm.
drive? And these are all surface level things. This isn't telling you anything about what kind of man this is. And if you want to get married, you're going to want to know who he is. What's his character? What are his
Right.
beliefs? What does he value? And that takes time. You
Say
know,
that again.
it takes time and it takes work and effort. It
Right.
diving deeper. It takes going below the surface. So, you know, a woman,
And
if you're looking at, okay, well, if he's not trying to take me out, if he's not, yeah, okay, he'll take you out on a date. Of course, there's nothing wrong with that because he's courting you, right? But, he's not required to start paying your cell phone bill and start paying your utilities and all that because he's not your husband. You were paying that on your own before you met him. And that's your responsibility until you get married. And then we can talk about how we're going to do this together, but until then, he has his household he's running. You guys are two separate entities until you become one. So that's my
right. And you said a couple things that I thought were really important. And as you mature in life and have experiences, you come to the realization that somebody's character and how they treat you and how they treat other people is one of the top things that you look for in a partner. And also, you had mentioned something when it came to women. There sometimes you have women that are looking to see what they can get from a person, and that's at the root cause of the similar type of issue with men and women. When you have a man that's like, okay, I want you to meal prep for me, every week I want you to clean my house once a week, or those type of men are looking for what they can get from women as well. So it's on a usury type of basis and an approach, and you shouldn't come into relationships in that mindset. It's not healthy.
absolutely. I mean, I think that, we have to first of all, like what you said at the beginning of the day or beginning of the video, you said that it's important to state your intention. So that's number one right there.
Mhm.
Are you dating because you're looking for, a life partner? Are you looking for a commitment? Or are we dating because we just want to have a good time? And I think a lot of people aren't honest about what they really want. Some people are
Mhm.
dating, to use, as opposed to dating because they are looking to make that kind of commitment. And to get there, it does take having to, it starts with you. You have to let your guard down, and you have to be willing to be vulnerable, and
Mm.
to stop looking at what you can get from him. And you have to be willing, it's up to him to become vulnerable with you too, and for you to really learn who he is, for you guys to learn each other. And that's when you make that connection, if that's what's going to happen. It doesn't always happen with
Right.
everybody, but
And when you're straight up with somebody like that from the beginning, you can only respect that.
right.
So if somebody says, they're just, they just want to have fun right now, they're not looking for anything serious, you can only respect that. And
Yeah.
which direction you want to go at that point. If somebody said that to me, oh, I'm just looking to have fun, I'm not looking for anything serious, I was like, oh, that is great. Thanks for the great conversation. Because
Right, because
that's
those
not what I'm looking for.
right, right. So it's like, you can totally respect the person that says that, and it's like, okay, that's great, and then you move accordingly,
Right.
if you continue to see that person, then it's kind of on you, and because they told you from the jump that they
Right.
were just looking for friendship. So, but again, it's just kind of like, even if that person is really looking just to have fun, but they're lying, and because they know that you want more, that will reveal itself as you go. As you continue to date, it'll reveal itself. So keep your eyes open, and it'll reveal yourself based off of your intentions too. So people have to be also honest with themselves, because some people say they're looking for
Say
a
that again.
husband, but really you're looking at a man to come in and help you. So it's just like, yeah, that comes with it. But make sure that this man qualifies. Make sure that this man
Right.
has the kind of character, shares the same values that you have before he comes in, because then you're gonna end up divorced like us. So
Yes. Right. And ladies, let me tell you, you don't want to be with someone just because they can afford you and you're living, but because that does not mean that they're going to value you and treat you with decency, kindness, and respect. It doesn't mean that they're going to have good character. So, that's why I was saying earlier, things change as you experience life, and what's important
yeah,
changes. Just because somebody has the money doesn't mean that they're going to be a good person, and having money alone is just not enough. It's not enough.
it's not. It's not. So yeah. That was a lot.
Yes. And there's so much more that
Yeah.
can be said about this topic. And we absolutely would love to hear from you. Please, again, like, share, and repost our podcasts, post your questions, give us your feedback. We would greatly appreciate it. And if there's a topic that you would like for us to give our opinions about, please let us know that as well, and we'll get back to you. But thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. Have a good evening.
Have a good evening.